Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Manifest Podcast, where we talk about all things to do with the law of attraction, spirituality, metaphysical principles, and of course, all of the incredible things that tend to manifest throughout our lives. So if you are new around here, I'd like to officially welcome you into my world. This podcast has been around now for over 7 years now. And there have been many different seasons of my life that I have shared throughout this time, many different seasons of, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And the thing that I want to share with you today is a message that woke me up in the middle of the night. And it happened a few days ago now, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. In fact, I went straight to my community, Creative Manifestation, over on School, and I shared it with everyone there first a couple of days ago because it was like, this is extremely helpful information. And as you know, I always share things with my community as soon as I know that it's going to be helpful. So the thing that happened the other night, I'm actually wondering if it's ever happened to you. And I'm sure it has in various different ways from the people that I've spoken to about this over the last few days. They've had it happen to them over the years. And as a writer, this kind of thing tends to happen for me at least, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 times a year. It's like that big idea that moves you into a new level of understanding. In fact, ever since this message woke me up in the middle of the night the other day, and I'll get to that in a minute, I have been so much more inspired with the different things that I'm creating. I'm currently working on, and this is actually quite a big announcement, I am working on writing a song, and I've been working with John, who's my partner. He's also a musician and a music producer, and we've been working on a song together. So the lyrics, the melody, it's all been coming as almost like a download, and my poetry has been flowing more. The novel that I've been working on has been flowing at a better level, and I'm also working on another book. So there's like all of these different projects that are on the go right now, and they have been activated by this very simple message that I received the other night. And so I think the weirdest thing about what happened was how it happened. So I've had a lot going on lately, and sometimes I wake up and I experience a little bit of anxiety. I don't know, I've been going through that recently, and sometimes I sleep very, very soundly like a baby. And then what happened to me the other night was that I sat bolt upright in bed, and I heard a voice in my head, which I don't often hear, to be clear, but it was very much an intuitive voice. I couldn't identify whether it was male or female. It was just a very, very familiar voice. It wasn't my own voice. And so I sat bolt upright, and I heard the words, "Hold a different energy in your field and everything will change. Hold a different energy in your field and everything will change." And that was it. Super simple. And I immediately knew what it was. It was almost like a directive or a download. It was weird because, I talk about energetics and frequency all the time. But this message seemed to land with a new level of gusto. It was like it was coded for me in a way. I've been talking about energy, manifestation, and intention for more than 20 years. And I've written books about it. I've taught about it. I've spoken on stages. I've practiced it, of course, because, what's the point if you can't walk the talk? And yet, oddly, there was something about this message that landed very differently. Almost like, hey, it's go time, snap your fingers. And lately, I've been thinking a lot about how easy it is to wait for the external world to change before we allow ourselves to feel differently on certain levels. Like when resolution manifests, if you're going through a season of conflict, then you'll be able to relax. Or when the person changes, you'll start to feel safe. Or when the money arrives, you'll be happy. That kind of thing. And I think this is the biggest offender too. I'll believe in manifesting and trust the universe when I get evidence and proof that it's on its way or that it's worked, which is kind of silly. It's a little bit backwards and topsy-turvy. But what if the invitation is to hold the energy before there is evidence to support it? And I know that I am repeating myself like a broken record, and I've been talking about this for years, but lean in right now to that awareness. What if the invitation is to hold the energy before there is evidence to support it? And then you need to decide what belongs in your field now. What belongs in your field now? And Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, talks about the vortex, meaning that the desires that you have, they go into your vortex, and your job is to align with them so then they're released from the vortex into your reality as a manifestation, whether that's a person, a place, a thing, or an experience. And by doing this, by deciding what belongs in your field now, holding that different energy, there's a peace if you allow this to land in your heart, like at the right time. And I haven't been the same since. And it was like some kind of coded upgrade for me where I started to see things a lot differently. And sometimes it's just like those tiny perspective shifts that can make the biggest difference. It really does. And so if you allow, I think if you really tune into what this message is, it allows you to simply be without rehearsing everything that could go wrong or thinking that the sky will land on your head like Chicken Little. You know, I'm and have historically been a very worst case scenario type of person, prepare for the worst and, maybe the best will happen. And it hasn't always been that way, but in more recent times, I kind of feel like I've drifted more towards that side of erring on the side of caution rather than, embracing the miracle and the possibility of infinite possibilities. And so I think what the message was reminding me, hold a different energy in your field and everything will change, is that maybe not everything outside of you or me immediately changes, but you change on a really lovely level. Like it's like the awareness of possibility that with the tiniest shift in mindset, you can see things in a different way. And it's from there that you start to make different decisions. You notice different possibilities that have been there before, but you may not have leaned into with a newfound sense of curiosity. And so you might even start to create different things. I know that my writing's completely changed. And you also stop feeding what you no longer want to carry forward. And I think that this is really important if you are on an intentional journey of manifestation, because the monsters starve from neglect. The things that you do not want in your life, the people that you do not want in your life, they will starve from neglect. You do not have to give people access to your energy. You are allowed to kind of walk away from friendships that don't feel like they're mutually supportive. You are allowed to walk away from relationships that you know are destructive to your nervous system, to your soul, to your well-being, to the, whatever life situation that you're going through. And so eventually the external world has no choice but to meet a different version of you. And so today I'm sitting with one question, and that is, what energy am I willing to hold before I have any evidence that my life is changing? What energy am I willing to hold before I have any evidence that my life is changing? And maybe that's a question for you too today. And I think that looking at the different holding patterns that we have in our lives of things that we just get used to over and over again, the things that we tolerate, it's a call to action to examine what you tolerate, examine what you're allowing into your energy field. And people do this all the time when they go through like a health kick, for instance, especially around New Year, when they're like, okay, I'm going to cut out sugar in my diet, or I'm going to cut back on alcohol, or whatever it is. And they do that, but yet they still hold the frequency of what draws them to those vices. And so when you examine the energy, when you are willing to stand and sometimes sit, sometimes turn around in circles and chase your tail with the discomfort, things happen. Things start to shift when you can take that accountability and that self-responsibility for your actions, for the way that your reality is unfolding. Every single choice that you make, every single thought you think, every action you take creates and constructs the fabric of your reality. And then what happens is that you have to live out the results of that. So what are you offering to the field of infinite potential? What are you holding in your energy field? What can you consciously look in your energy field right now and edit it and go, you know what, we're going to cut that part. We're going to cut out the part that, needs to complain when conversing with others. Maybe becoming aware of that. Maybe I'm going to look at my language patterns and the way that I place invisible limitations around the things that I am allowed to do, the excuses that I make. Maybe I'm going to now put in the programming of the philosophy of creative manifestation, meaning that you get to create, and the action of creation simply changes you. This is what I talk about in my school community a lot. In fact, we just started last week the highest timeline program, and that so far has been absolutely incredible. I've been talking a lot about the awareness that the life that you're waiting for is happening now. Not when will it happen, but what begins now? What can you put in your field now? And this really helps people to recognize the subtle ways that they've placed happiness or identity and permission in the future. And it's this almost like a quiet decision that we make. We don't wait for the money or the perfect relationship or for your body to change or for your kids to get older or whatever it is, or for somebody to apologize or for pigs fly for hell to freeze over or for pigs to fly. It's that you decide now. That is the frequency that you hold. So as an example, if you want to manifest, let's just say, a decent chunk of abundance, you must hold the energy of abundance in your field. And you might be asking, well, Sarah, how do you do this? But you need to pay attention to your vibration, to the offerings that you are making to the field of infinite abundance. And that looks like programming your subconscious mind, doing things like the abundance code that I shared quite recently. I believe that is in my store. So if you go to sarahprout.com and you click on the shop link, there's a link there to the abundance code. And that's a private 30-minute audio experience designed to change the way that you experience and manifest abundance. So that recodes you to then hold in your field a different energy. Everything that I create and the offerings that I have are intended for you to have and hold a different frequency, something that will help you to change the way that you are transmitting your field of frequency and vibration out to the universe, for then the universe to reflect that back to you. And what I've been seeing in my own life, oh my goodness, the blessings and the miracles. I wish there's a few things actually that I wish that I could share with you, but I can't right now. They're really exciting creative projects. And having that energy, I mean, like I said, I've been singing, I've been writing songs, I've been writing poetry, working on my novel. I've been doing really, really top secret interviews, things I can't share just yet. I've been working on other projects behind the scenes. And what I can tell you is that it has a ripple effect. I know that's a lot of professional, creative stuff, but in my personal life, my relationship is strengthening almost like a moment by moment basis. The relationship that I have with my children it's always, it's such a miracle. And I'm sure if you have children or even if you have pets, someone that you just love so much, there is so much joy and miraculous energy that comes from watching them grow, watching them learn new things. I've never been tired of that. My oldest, Thomas, he turns 25 this week. So it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my baby's going to be 25. And yet my youngest, she's 9. And so, seeing the contrast between the two of them is always such a blessing, because we're always learning, always growing and evolving. And part of this lesson is to remember that we're always on a journey. We're always on a journey of growth and awareness. And of course, manifesting what we really want. You are in the driver's seat of your own experience. And so life can throw so many different, really crappy things in your direction. And more than likely, if you've lived some life like I have, you've gone through different seasons of upset or struggle or upheaval. And I think sometimes you just get so desensitized to the overwhelm of those seasons that you just adapt and you realize, okay, well, I can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, because as it would, the definition implies, that is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and getting a different result. And so you try something different. You try to make internal energetic frequency pivots. And what that does is it changes the landscape of your perception, because you realize that you're not passive in this experience. You are being tested and trained by the universe, by God, by the powers that be, and you are being strengthened, and that nothing is ever wasted, even though it might seem really tough, whatever you've been through. It can always get better, right? And with that awareness, though, is that you still have the sovereignty to be able to choose. You get to choose how you view a situation. And I think that there is so much magic to that when you can consciously make the choice to lean into your field and ask yourself, what am I holding in my energy field right now? What am I holding in here? What am I putting into it? Are you putting in fear? Are you putting in overwhelm, uncertainty, scarcity, meanness, being unkind, being difficult? What are you doing that for? Because you're either going to be contributing to unity and love and good feeling energy, or you're going to be, pooing in your own nest and creating fear and destruction and negative energy. And the energy that you put out there always comes back to you with astounding accuracy, as the late, great Florence Scovel Shinn once wrote in one of her books. It's true. We live in this universe of infinite possibilities. So when you put out, stagnation and stuckness, you're going to experience that coming back to you, sometimes tenfold. And then when you put out the energy of forward motion progress, of freedom, of joy, of creative energy, you activate the energy of creative manifestation, and you literally change the fabric of your life. I've seen this happen. I've seen healing happen where I never thought healing was possible. I've seen miracles happen where I thought that a miracle was never going to happen, and it did. And I have seen tremendous growth from the people that have put their hands up to do the work. And sometimes they go through that season of struggle and they come out the other side of it and they're stronger and they have more mission and purpose and they're more driven and they're more connected to God. They're more connected to the universe. They're more connected to the way in which they create. Because you are the creator of your experience. You are an aspect of God. You are an aspect of omnipotent, omnipresent superconsciousness, however you want to put it, the highest vibration of love. That is you at the core level of your being. And yet, and this is the really funny thing, we think that we're not. We think that we're stuck. We think that we're limited. We think that we are bound by the rules of some probably silly man that made up those rules. I don't know. I don't mean to offend anybody, but, there's that's a conversation for another day. I'm sure you can read between the lines with that one. But it's really important to honor what you want in your life. Because if you experience any level of dissatisfaction, you have everything you can do within your power to do something about it. You really do. And if you don't know where to start and, you're not sure where to go, please try my 7-day creative manifestation challenge. There have been so many people that have been through it in the past few weeks and they absolutely love it. It's free. You can try it for 7 days inside the Creative Manifestation community. You can go to creativemanifestation.com and sign up for a free trial. Connect with other people in the community. There are some extraordinary human beings in there that are working on all sorts of amazing stuff. And what I love about that community is that, I'm adding new content in there all the time. Like I said, Highest Timeline just launched last week. We're going through that as a 5-week program. As a member, you get access to the previous programs, the upcoming programs. You get to be part of the discussions. And of course, you get to hear it first when I wake up in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. and have a very profound message that I know will help so many people. It is so powerful to remember this message. Remembering the message, hold a different energy in your field and everything will change. Everything will change. Hold a different energy in your field and everything will change. And more specifically, hold the different energy of what you want in your field and everything will change. That's even more powerful because it activates the energetics of specificity. What do you want? What do you want? Who do you want to share your life with? What are magical experiences that you are yet to have? I saw we were watching TV the other night and there was this really beautiful ad for, I think it was a cruise line, and it had, this couple that were drinking champagne in France and drinking a glass of red wine in Italy, and they were swimming in this beautiful blue clear water, I think in some kind of Pacific paradise. And it was just like all of these adventures all over the world. And I said to John, I want to do all of that, but not go on a cruise ship, because I watched recently on Netflix something called the Poop Cruise, where like the electricity went out or something and there were no toilets on the cruise for 5 days. That is not something I ever want to hold in my field. But the point here is that you need to allow yourself to dream really big. Think up the best things that could possibly happen that would just absolutely amaze you. And yes, think about the things that you could do for other people, because being of service is, of course, the key to manifestation. But think about the things that you just want for you, just for yourself. What is one wild dream that you have never given yourself permission to have before that you can put in your field right now? Before you click exit on this podcast, or before you click share on it, by the way, that'd be great. Or before you go and check out Creative Manifestation over on School, what is one thing that you could put in your field right now that would change everything for you if it happened? And then feel that energy. Feel that energy, as the amazing writer Neville Goddard once wrote, see the end result. Feel it. Feel it. And then that's when you notice that things begin to change. So I will leave you with that for today. Thank you so much for being here with me for another episode of the Manifest Podcast. And if you would like to message me or drop into the community and connect with me, I would love to hear all about what you're wanting to manifest, because it's my job, my honor and privilege, to help you activate that creative energy in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Okay, lots of love, and bye for now.